Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Elisa Alvick. I'm going to give us just a couple minutes before we kick things off while we allow our final registrants to join us, and then we will get things started. All right, it looks like we're starting to get a good crowd, so I will get things started. Hello again, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for Bioinformatics live learning session, Inside the Minds of Scientists, How AI is Changing Life Science Research. Again, I'm Elisa Alvick, the Marketing Director here at Science Medicine Group. I'll be your moderator today. Before we get started, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items. First, if you experience any issues throughout the broadcast, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'll work with you directly to fix them. Second, this presentation will be available on demand after the webinar is concluded. We'll send you an email with information about how to access the recording and a copy of the presentation slides. Third, we will be taking time at the end to answer some questions. Please feel free to submit your questions at any time throughout the presentation. We'll get to as many of those as possible, and for any that we don't submit them anyway, we'll follow up with you after the event. Great, and without further ado, I'm excited to hand it over to today's expert and our presenter, bioinformatics expert, Dr. Danyi Wu, Manager of Science Advisory Services. Danny, thank you so much for joining us today. When you're ready, please take it away.
Thanks, Elisa, and thanks everyone for attending today's talk. We'll be deep diving into select highlights from our most recently published report about the perceptions of artificial intelligence in the life sciences. So, as Elisa mentioned, my name is Danyi Wu. I'm a manager for scientific advisory services here at SMG. I was able to work with a great team to develop the survey, field the survey, as well as analyze the results. I'm excited to share with you the key findings for today. So just to set the stage of how the study was designed, our group initiated a market research study to better understand the perceptions and usage of artificial intelligence in the life sciences. This is a revamped version of a study we did in 2023 to really just cater and understand a snapshot of what today's perceptions looks like. Specific objectives for the study include gathering the general sentiment towards adoption of AI into current workflows, understanding why the applications in which AI is most commonly used and where there is a need for AI. We also tried to understand AI workflows, pain points, etc., and identify key organizations that are developing AI or actively employing AI in their workflows. And then finally, we wanted to understand how AI has impacted purchasing behavior as well as hiring behavior. In order to achieve these goals, we designed an online quantitative survey that contained 47 questions in total, including demographic and screening questions, and took a median time of 16 minutes to complete. In the 2025 edition, it was fielded to 408 respondents. So the qualification criteria for this study was simple. They had to work in academic, government, or industry segments of the life sciences within North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. We wanted to cast a wide net for this to be a global study, but also did not place any restrictions on the type of respondents who could participate in their usage of AI. A selection of results will be discussed today, and the full report will be available on the Knowledge Center. So there were a few definitions we used throughout the survey, as well as this report, to just set the stage of how we wanted to define AI. So artificial intelligence is the use of computer systems to simulate the human cognitive process for analysis or processing of data, such as interpretation of images, analyzing languages, and identifying patterns. We wanted to distinguish the use of AI for personal tasks as well as work-related tasks. In this study, AI for personal tasks refers to the usage of AI for your own convenience and or entertainment. So examples provided to respondents included managing their daily schedules, virtual assistants, control of smart homes, etc. AI usage for work-related tasks refers to the use of AI in respondent laboratories to improve their research efficiency, such as identifying trends, processing large data sets, etc. So we discovered quite a bit about the usage of AI in life science workflows, and there were a few themes that stood out to our team. In terms of the usage of AI for both work and life, 87% of respondents currently use AI for work-related tasks, rising from 75% in 2023, meaning that there's already been significant movement in the adoption of AI over the past 2 years. 90% of current users of AI who use it for work-related tasks also leverage AI in their daily personal lives. What stood out was that document preparation and technical writing are actually the most commonly assigned tasks in the life sciences. Now, 57% of current users have indicated that AI has brought at least some value to their workflows, and they tend to agree that AI can speed up their workflows and assist with select tasks. However, there is a trend that we've noticed that more respondents in 2025 agree that humans can offer insights that AI cannot. And this has shifted since 2023, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into that. Now, there are quite a bit of concerns around AI. Though many of the respondents highlighted the key benefits of AI in terms of efficiency, speed, etc., 99% of participants in the study indicated that they have concerns about AI, primarily data validity and trust, cybersecurity, and ethics. In general, more users have expressed that they're hesitant to trust AI in 2025. Now, in terms of developing new solutions, new AI solutions must address these key concerns, particularly around the security risks, and prove the validity of the data that's generating or analyzing. Regulatory agencies also must catch up in order to protect data privacy and meet GxP standards and work hand in hand with AI solutions developers. In addition, simplifying training and developing expertise will resolve the most frequently occurring pain point with AI tools and demonstrating the data validity. Developing these application-specific solutions will meet the current needs in the life science laboratory. So like I mentioned, we had 408 participants in this survey. It was a global study. 38% of respondents came from North America, 38% of respondents came from Europe, and about 23% of respondents came from APAC. Now, these are a little bit rounded here, but we did have participation across many different countries throughout the world. In 2025, 87% of respondents indicate that they are currently using AI for work-related tasks. An additional 7% are future adopters of AI, and 5% have no intent to use AI for work-related tasks. Now, this has shifted slightly since 2023 when we had a sample size that was quite similar, but you can see there we had only 75% current users, but about 18% total future users. In terms of respondent profile, and this is based off of work-related tasks, we had 355 current users of AI, and they were split evenly across academic and industry settings. We also had a widespread mix of generations, from baby boomers to Gen Z and millennials. In terms of personal use of AI, about 90% of respondents indicate that they do use AI for personal tasks, albeit only rarely and maybe potentially sometimes. We also had a wide distribution of job titles in this study. About a quarter of current users are lab managers, directors, supervisors, coordinators. 21% of current users are PIs, and we had staff scientists, professors, department heads, etc. We also categorized respondents as avid users, passive users, skeptics, and opposed to AI, based off a question about understanding their desire to use AI. Here, we're segmenting by current users, future users, or non-users, and found that 30% of current users of AI are avid users, meaning they use it as much as possible. Meanwhile, 50% use it for work only out of necessity. So they're passively using it. They're not necessarily engaging with the suite of AI tools that are available there. They're using it because they have to. And then a subset of respondents who are currently users are unsure about their feelings or prefer not to use it. When we look at future users, most of them are either passive or unsure and skeptical about using AI. But they do still plan to try to leverage AI in the next 2 years. For the non-users, many are skeptical or nothing would convince them to use it, but the majority just simply have a preference. They don't want to use it. And some of the sentiments that we found was that even though there might be benefits of efficiency, it might not be relevant to their workflows, or they find that it might be potentially dangerous. So let's talk about what the perceptions of AI truly is. So here we're looking at a question that we asked both in 2023 and 2025 and looked at how the needle has shifted towards different types of sentiments towards AI. In 2025, more users are hesitant to trust AI and believe that it can offer insights that AI cannot. So here, if you look at the solid colored symbols, those are 2025 data split between current users and future users. So current users are circles and future users are these triangles. Subsequently, these hollowed out shapes mirror the solid color shapes, but they are the old data from 2023. And you can see how this hesitancy shifts from more of a neutral perception to the left, and that they are more hesitant to trust AI. In terms of delivering insights, many respondents in 2023 were neutral, but they felt that AI could deliver insights that human cannot. There was this optimism. Now, after potentially using it more often, more respondents indicate that they agree that humans can deliver insights that AI cannot. In general, respondents continue to agree that AI will not replace the need for human involvement in workflows. And that does tie into the sentiment that humans offer insights and different types of analysis and creative thinking that currently AI cannot. Also, what we can see is that in general, most current users agree that AI can speed up as well as significantly assist workflows in 2025 compared to 2023. Future users are a little bit more uncertain that AI offers these benefits. They're also just slightly more uncertain that they can trust the outputs of AI. And then finally, all respondents agree that we still have much to learn about AI before using it in our workflow. Here is also some trended data about the perceived impact of AI for both personal and work-related tasks in 2025 and in 2023. 59% of current users in 2025 indicate that AI has some positive impact for personal tasks. And this is a substantial decrease since 2023. Although most of the sentiments were a little bit neutral, though slightly positive. This shifting perception has become more neutral really for this personal tasks in general. When we look at work-related tasks, the impact of AI has remained steadily positive. 74% of users indicate that AI has positively impacted their work in 2025, and this is pretty much on par with sentiments in 2023. In general, future users have also shifted more towards this neutral sentiment, and then non-users actually have shifted more towards a negative perception of AI on the impact for both personal and professional settings. So what's really causing this impact? Well, 63% of respondents indicate that AI will have a significant impact on the processing of large data sets, for example, for personalized medicine applications. Analyzing images for disease characterization, identifying trends across multiple experimental outputs, for example, integrating omics, whether it's genomics, metabolomics, proteomics, lipidomics, et cetera, studying trends in published data and literature mining, and predicting protein structures are additional areas of impact. When we segment by market segment, we also find that industry respondents highlight the ability of AI to help identify efficiencies to speed up manufacturing as well. And whether it's addressing quality issues, leveraging capacity, et cetera, it's more relevant to their workflows, and therefore they do feel that AI can have impact in that aspect. But truly, most respondents agree that it's really centered around processing those large data sets. When we look at the value of AI, not just impact, we find that 57% of current users indicate that AI has brought at least some value to their workflows, with that 12% indicating that it's brought high value. And this really correlates with their desire to use AI. They go hand in hand, where avid users think that AI has really brought high value to them, whereas skeptics and opposed users have indicated that it has not brought much value. And that may have informed their perceptions and their desire to integrate AI further. When we look at benefits, over 65% of current users indicate that increased data processing power, speed, and time savings are truly the key benefits of using AI. And future users agree that these are the core benefits that they're looking for. Meanwhile, 32% of non-users indicate that there are no benefits of AI at all, indicating that that sentiment is pretty strong, which is why they don't plan to adopt. But truly, when we focus on these current and future users, we do look at, what are the key benefits that are resonating with them that might inform them to adopt. Interestingly enough, decreasing the costs of research and work is not quite a benefit for current users, but it is an anticipated benefit for future users. So they are looking at those diminished costs in the future. Looking at additional sentiments, nearly 70% of current and future users have concerns about security risks. They either completely or somewhat agree with sentiments around being concerned about the security risks outright, or that regulatory agencies are playing catch up with AI regulations and guidelines. So let's talk about how AI is actually being leveraged and where there are gaps and unmet needs. So what we found was that document preparation and technical writing are the most common tasks assigned to AI. This is prevalent both in industry settings, particularly, as well as in academic and government settings. And when probed further, we found that many respondents are using them for literature mining, parsing through the vast amounts of literature and publications that are on the internet to find those tailored research that's most relevant to their needs. Some are using it for grant writing. Some are using it just to refine some of the documents that they need to prepare. Over 30% of respondents are also using AI for big data pattern recognition and modeling or predictive modeling. Optimizing design, team collaboration, antibody protein design, and LIMS are currently assigned to AI in industry settings more than in academic settings. So we do see a bit of a difference depending on the work environment that a respondent is using it. But it's really focused on those document preps at the moment. When prompted about the challenges that they are currently experiencing with AI in their workflows, 30% of respondents indicate that data validity, the data reliability and trustworthiness of the data is the key challenge. And this is prevalent for 30% of current users of AI. Additional challenges include data security and privacy issues, the learning curve in order to maximize AI's full potential, understanding how to train the AI model, how to create prompts, how to use the tool itself can be a pain point for many respondents. Additional challenges include the lack of application specificity, training models, costs and resources, computational costs, the price of the AI solutions, is the general infrastructure supporting AI can all contribute to those costs. Other concerns include integration challenges, ethical concerns, as well as difficulty interpreting the model itself. Nevertheless, 30% of respondents also indicate that there are no outstanding challenges that they're experiencing with AI. So it's really a mixed bag at this point. We did select a few verbatims to highlight the types of challenges users are facing when using AI. The ability to integrate AI into specific data analysis applications without needing the involvement of computer scientists. The lack of transparency about how the data output is generated makes it difficult to fully trust the accuracy of the data, especially when small but inaccurate outputs can be picked up when AI performs tasks that are more easily accessible by humans. That was from a respondent from Asia who's working in an academic government setting. Incorporating AI into existing systems can be complex and resource intensive, especially if legacy systems are involved. Handling vast amounts of sensitive data raises concerns about privacy and security, and ensuring compliance with data protection regulations is critical. And that's a respondent from Europe who works in an industry setting. And so we do see a vast array of different types of challenges. I think the word data hallucinations come up, and that's really what's driving that concern about the data validity. When there's no transparency in understanding how the final output is generated from AI, there is a bit of sensitivity to that. We also try to assess pain points in a closed-ended manner to understand the frequency as well as the impact of different types of pain points in AI. Here on the x-axis, we're looking at pain points that are frequently experienced, whether always, often, or occasionally. And on the y-axis, we're looking at how improving or addressing those pain points can have an impact on their workflows. And what we found is that the lack of sufficient training for AI, lack of personnel with AI expertise, and the data quality to train AI models are the frequently occurring pain points in using AI tools. Now, the personnel with AI expertise and lack of sufficient training really go hand in hand. And I think new developers of AI solutions should really hone in on easing that learning curve, making it more accessible for users to use, understand how to use, and maximize the possibilities that they can with using AI. In terms of the types of challenges that users would like to resolve, it's really resolving that lack of expertise, the data quality and how to refine that data to feed into AI models, difficulty with validation, and lack of sufficient training. Additional pain points include improving workflow integration and data interpretability will address issues for over 20% of users. Interestingly enough, cost is not a pain point in leveraging AI tools. You actually see it at the bottom left of this visualization, indicating that it's not high up there in respondents, the key challenges that they're currently facing, and it might just express that they are willing to pay for these solutions, but these other pain points really truly need to be addressed. So how can AI companies create solutions that meet laboratory needs? Well, 52% of current users do indicate that the current needs are met, but there is demand for improved solutions. And what do those improved solutions look like? They look like robust solutions that are truly reliable and built on data sets that make sense, that are valid, that will improve the overall data quality as well as the trustworthy of the outputs overall. Potential AI solutions should be developed and it should be tailored and relevant to specific scientific needs for different types of research applications. One scientist is not like another. One might be focused on screening and drug discovery. Another scientist might be looking at specific pathways or a very one protein in particular and understanding the mechanisms of actions. Different solutions should be flexible or just directed and tailored for those specific needs. General improvements are also preferred by current users of AI. They would love a feedback mechanism to talk to the developers of AI solutions about how they can be optimized further. They would love to see more models out there as well as use cases so that they can better understand how they can engage with these tools. Potential AI solutions must be user-friendly, and offering training sessions, whether it's demos or modules, would truly help aid that learning curve. And ensuring data privacy and transparency and security, as well as transparency, are additional needs that respondents would like. So here we have another handful of verbatims from the survey itself. Respondents are asking for AI solutions providers to provide practical demos or training modules that are easily applicable to their work. Analytical workflow and results declarations can be automated. Data sets or training modules need to be validated to remove inconsistencies in data which don't meet the quality threshold. They want AI providers to work with regulators and be transparent about training the data set just to make sure no biases are there. And there are some quality control measures in place. And that will go a long way in building that trustworthiness of AI. AI companies need to discuss the requirements of customers on an individual basis, tweaking the models until such time that a comprehensive understanding of all challenges has been assessed. In terms of factors driving adoption for AI, relevance to research applications is the most important factor. Increased time savings, data fidelity, and speed are additional drivers, while speed, cost, and data insights are also important, particularly for future users. In terms of barriers to adopting AI, data quality and validity is the top barrier, and that's been a theme throughout this entire study. The expertise required, cybersecurity, and the lack of organizational infrastructure as well as specific AI tools for their needs are additional barriers to adopting AI. What respondents are not concerned about are the replacement of human jobs by AI. So in terms of next steps, we hope this webinar offered a sneak peek or a preview of the types of insights that you can learn from our full report about the perceptions of AI in the life sciences. There's been a lot of shifting trends and perceptions that have been really interesting to uncover. But also the report offers highlights around, the key vendors that are providing solutions, who researchers perceive as the leaders in the space, as well as just their organizational desires to integrate AI as well. Also encourage you to browse our catalog of publications that center around life science feedback and workflows. We have several upcoming titles slated for the summer, including Understanding Customer and Loyalty and Switching for Real-Time PCR Reagents, a title that's exploring online behaviors of researchers, as well as a study that benchmarks the IVD user experience. We also have links to past titles in case those are of interest to you. And then finally, we encourage you to evaluate our market research options, determine if there's a solution best suited for your study goals, whether you're developing an AI solution or something else and want to understand how respondents would evaluate or be receptive to your solutions. We have a few different types of research tiers, accelerated insights or short, snappy pulses to understand specific use cases. We have custom light, where we can also have shorter timelines to help you understand shorter surveys for concept testing, customer feedback, brand awareness. And then we also have a full slate of quantitative and qualitative market research options to support you should you need custom insights. I'll leave that here. These will be available in the presentation slides at the end if you would like to preview. Anyways, thank you for joining. I'll open it up to questions now.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny, so much for that presentation. I know we are over just a bit. If you can stay, great. If not, as Danny mentioned, we will be sending out the slides and the recording. I'll point everyone over to the Q&A box. Feel free to submit your questions. I will start with a few that we have gotten throughout the presentation, and we'll take it from there. All right, Danny, as someone who's reviewed the data, what's one trend or data point that from the 2025 study that you think companies developing AI tools aren't paying close enough attention to?
So I think one data point that stood out was how the usage of AI has shifted so much since 2023. It's leaped about 12 percentage points in terms of how life science researchers are using AI for their workflows and how they plan to adopt them more and more in the future. I think the key data points for an AI solutions provider would be really focusing on where those unmet needs are and where the demand is. And one of the demands is really for those tailored solutions that are specific to researcher needs. Many of our respondents have expressed a willingness to collaborate and work with developers to design these tools that are best suited to their needs. And I think there's a wealth of options and areas where AI solutions can go, not just for being leveraged for document preparation or technical writing, but truly specific research applications. And once those models are trained and understand the biology of different pathways or the specific genes and proteins that a researcher might be looking for, it can really go a long way.
Awesome. All right. Document preparation and technical writing came up as the most common AI tasks. Is that what you expected to see? And do you think that reflects a broader trend in how researchers are starting to integrate AI into their work?
So we were expecting processing of large data sets, and we had to actually conduct a few cognitive interviews for the study before fielding the entire survey. And what we learned from those initial cognitive interviews was that there is a gap where document prep really is being used. And so that was surprising. We decided to include it in our survey, and we found that those were the top two use cases. We think it's because it's more broad. It could be that, those are the types of tasks that are also being used in daily lives. Whether to write emails or for resume preparations that scientists are carrying over for their work-related tasks. And we saw that many have indicated in 2025 that they expect to use AI more for these particular tasks, and also to kind of integrate it with parsing through the literature and refining their papers, their grants, and just refining those language. And that was interesting. But I think part of it really speaks to the trustworthiness. That that output from AI is something that they can continue to refine and retool themselves. And you can see how the AI is creating that data output. So it breaks that barrier of trustworthiness, and that it's something that they can work with themselves. I think that's really the core theme here.
Awesome. All right, let's do one more question. And I see a lot of questions about what specifically is in the report. So I will make sure we have someone follow up with you and give you all that information. Let me go to this one. Related to AI data validation, was there feedback on which AI tools users are using and if they are cross-referencing AI data across different platforms? OpenAI, Grok, Llama, etc.
This is an interesting question. So one of the chapters of our report actually focuses on the AI tools that are being used. So yes, OpenAI and ChatGPT is highly up there. It's considered a leader in AI, so that's a bit of a spoiler. But there are many tools that respondents indicate that they're currently using or they're interested in using. Both broader tools like ChatGPT, but also more specialized tools like AlphaFold. So we do explore into that. Though there are concerns about validation, I don't think any respondents specifically mentioned cross-referencing for different tools.
Awesome. All right, great. That was perfect. Thank you everyone for your time today. That concludes all the time we have. Again, we will follow up with everyone who has submitted a question. I will be sending out the slides and the recording. We'll also send out a special data highlight that kind of summarizes some of these findings from the survey as well. Danny, thanks again. You did a great job. And look forward to the next one. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.